Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gushin Garland and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, we bring you the top 50 updates from around the world only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. First in, from West Asia, Iran-backed militias reportedly entered in Syria from Iraq to support the army battling rebels in northern Syria. Several Iraqi Hashid al-Shabi fighters entered through an army route near Al-Bukmal, crossing near Deir ez-Zor Governorate. This came after Iran and Russia vowed unconditional support to Syria. Meanwhile, Iran has accused Israel of supporting rebels in Syria. Iran's foreign ministry said Israel's aim was to weaken Syria and the axis of resistance. Iran also urged countries in West Asia to help President Bashar al-Assad-led Syrian government. Israel launched its largest wave of airstrikes on Lebanon since the ceasefire agreement. At least 11 people lost their lives in southern Lebanon and 3 sustained injuries. This after Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu claimed serious violation of ceasefire by Hezbollah. Earlier, Hezbollah had fired missiles on an Israeli military position, accusing Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement. US President-elect Donald Trump issued a stern warning for Hamas. He said that the Gaza-based group will face massive repercussions if the hostages are not freed by the time he takes office. This comes as the incoming president vowed his support for Israel. Trump is set to take oath as the 47th US president on January 20 next year. Donald Trump has picked billionaire investment banker Warren Stephens to serve as U.S. ambassador to Britain. Stephens' investment bank funneled money into a political action committee that backed Trump's campaign. The longtime Republican donor was once reportedly against Donald Trump. U.S. President Joe Biden arrived in Angola yesterday. This is his first and only presidential visit to sub-Saharan Africa. The trip focuses on a U.S.-backed railway project. The outgoing president will meet Angolan Prime Minister in the capital Luanda later today. He will also visit the National Slavery Museum. The United States has announced a new $725 million military aid package for Ukraine. The package will include landmines as well as anti-air weapons. The package marks outgoing President Joe Biden's bid to provide billions of dollars to Ukraine before his tenure ends. The U.S. government has approved the sale of $1.17 billion worth of defense equipment to India. This includes parts of MHR-60R multi-mission helicopters. These helicopters are used for anti-submarine warfare. A terrorist was killed during an encounter with Indian security forces in Jammu and Kashmir. This after a joint operation was launched by Indian Army and the Jammu and Kashmir Police. In Harwan area, the operation was initiated after the forces reportedly received information about suspicious movement. Continuing with India, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar briefed Parliament on border agreement with China. He said the ties that had tumbled after 2020 due to the Chinese actions have slightly improved this year. He added, although there's a line of actual control, but it does not have common understanding in some areas. He said that India would continue discussions with China to arrive at a solution. Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is in Beijing for a 3-day visit. He met Chinese President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang. The Nepali leader was accorded with Guard of Honor by the Chinese People's Liberation Army. He signed a total of 9 deals with China. This as China eyes deeper ties with Nepal to expand its Belt and Road Initiative. The Islamabad court has issued non-bailable arrest warrant against former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi. Warrants have also been issued for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chief Minister Ali Amin Gandpur and 93 other PTI leaders. The charges revolve around last week's protest in the capital seeking the release of jailed PTI Chief Khan. France Prime Minister Michel Barnier's government is set to face no confidence motion tomorrow. This after far-right and left-wing parties tabled no confidence motion in the parliament yesterday. The move was in response to Barnier's decision to push through a budget without parliamentary vote. In Georgia, police again dispersed thousands of demonstrators outside the country's parliament in Tbilisi. Police used water cannons and tear gas as the protests continued for the fifth night. Over 200 people have been detained so far. The protest erupted after country's government, led by pro-Russian Georgian Dream Party, halted EU accession talks. In climate news, the International Court of Justice has started hearing its first ever case on climate change obligations. In the 2 weeks of hearing, the UN court will decide what nations are required to do to combat climate change. The case also aims to help vulnerable nations fight its devastating impact. Meanwhile, activists were seen rallying outside the World Court amidst the climate change case hearing. Dozens of protesters came together to call for climate justice. The demonstrators sat outside the court to watch the live stream of the hearing. The 16th annual UN talks on desertification kicked off today in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. COP16 summit will run until December 13th. This is the first UN desertification convention being held in a Western Asian nation. However, critics have slammed the talks venue as Saudi Arabia has reportedly blocked efforts to phase out fossil fuels. According to the US Weather Department, Great Lakes region is expected to get more snowfall. The prediction comes after winter storm dumped heavy snowfall in regions like New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. In Greece, Storm Bora has claimed the lives of at least 3 people so far. A state of emergency has been declared in 2 islands. The storm has flooded the streets, causing widespread destruction. Rescue efforts are underway and amid torrential rain and gale force winds. Floodwater in Malaysia that killed at least 7 people has begun to recede. Residents in the town of Tumpat were seen addressing the damage. The citizens were seen navigating through the submerged houses and shops using boats. According to authorities, Malaysia could face more flooding this week. On to business and tech news now. The US has introduced new export restrictions targeting China's chip industry. It says the move aims to safeguard national security. The latest rules restrict exports to 140 Chinese companies. This includes Notre Technology Group, a maker of chip production equipment. Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger resigned yesterday after 4 years in the role. The chipmaker has appointed CFO David Zinsner and senior executive Michelle Johnston Holithus as interim co-CEOs. Reports suggest Gelsinger was forced out by Intel's board of directors. The board has reportedly lost confidence in his plans to turn around the financially struggling chipmaker. A former Apple employee has filed a lawsuit against the firm in the US. He accuses the iPhone maker of illegally monitoring its workers. The lawsuit claims Apple asked employees to install specific software on their personal devices. The former employee also alleges that Apple imposes strict confidentiality policies on its workers. A US court in Delaware has reaffirmed its ruling to revoke Elon Musk's $56 billion pay package from Tesla. The electric car maker has approved the enormous compensation for its CEO Musk in 2018. However, it was rejected by the Delaware court in January this year. Tesla ratified the pay package again in June through a shareholder vote. But the court said the vote was based on misstatements. American automaker General Motors will set its stake in the electric vehicle battery plant in Michigan. The facility is jointly owned by General Motors and South Korea's LG Energy Solution. The automaker now plans to sell its shares to LG for its about $2.6 billion. European car maker Stellantis is reportedly considering 2 internal candidates for its CEO position. These include the car maker's North American operations head, Antonio Filosa, and procurement chief, Maxime Picard. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares resigned abruptly earlier this week. US President-elect Donald Trump has reiterated that he will block the US Steel's takeover by Japan's Nippon. The $15 billion deal has been opposed by all quarters of the US politics. In a social media post, Trump said he will help US Steel with his tax incentives and tariff plans. American agriculture giant Cargill reportedly plans to cut about 5% of its workforce globally. The move would affect about 8,000 employees. The job cuts were reportedly revealed in an internal memo by Cargill CEO Brian Sykes. Cargill has seen its revenue decline in recent financial reports as crop prices dropped. American meat producer Tyson Foods is shutting down its plant in the U.S. state of Kansas. The move will impact about 800 workers currently employed at the facility. Tyson Foods has closed around 6 plants in the U.S. since 2023. Jennifer Nason, the investment banking chief of JP Morgan Chase, will reportedly leave the firm early next year. Nason has been with the investment banking giant for over 4 decades. She will now move to consultancy firm Accenture as one of its board members. Moving to sports, we start with cricket. Bangladesh sealed a 3-0 whitewash over Ireland in the Women's ODI series. This came as hosts secured a 7-wicket victory over Ireland in the final one-day international in Mirpur yesterday. Bangladesh's series win has boosted their chance of direct qualification in the Women's Cricket World Cup next year. In another good news for Bangladesh, the visitors are leading against West Indies by 211 runs in the final test of their 2-match series. By the end of day 3, Bangladesh made 993 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in Jamaica. Bangladesh, having lost their series opener match, are now aiming to level the series 1-1. Team India's head coach Gautam Gambhir has flown back to Australia. Gambhir will rejoin India's squad ahead of the second test of Border Gavaskar series. After India's win in the first test, Gambhir had briefly returned home, citing personal reasons. In football, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo were named in the annual 26-man Team of the Year shortlist. Messi and Ronaldo are the only players from clubs outside of Europe. Rest of the 24 nominees are from clubs in England, Germany, Spain and France. Meanwhile, Liverpool star Mohamed Salah failed to make the cut despite his ongoing dream run in the Premier League. Premier League club Ipswich Town said that their captain Sam Morsy has chosen not to wear a rainbow armband in support of the LGBTQ+ community. Morsy made the choice owing to his religious beliefs during a match on November 30 against Nottingham Forest. In a statement, Ipswich said, and I quote, "They respect Morsy's decision, but are committed to being a fully inclusive club," unquote. Meanwhile, Arsenal will host Manchester United for a FA Cup third round next month. The match is set for the weekend of January 11 to 12 at Arsenal's home ground, the Emirates Stadium. Manchester United are the defending FA Cup champions. In tennis, Italy will host the Davis Cup finals for 3 years between 2025 and 2027. The International Tennis Federation cited Italy's rich history of tennis while announcing the Davis Cup schedule. In 2025, the Davis Cup finals will be played in Italy's Bologna. More from tennis. Turkish player Altak Selik Bilek collapsed with just one game into his ITF tournament semi-final in Tunisia. Doctors reportedly determined brain hemorrhage to be the cause of tennis star's collapse. The Turkish Tennis Federation said that the player's condition is currently stable. In the world of racing, Australia's Jack Doohan is set to make his Formula One debut at Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on December 8. The 21-year-old will join French driver Pierre Gasly's Star Alpine. Doohan will debut with his reserve driver number 61 and will also take part in the end-of-season test. International Athletics governing body has announced Athlete of the Year awards yesterday. Dutch marathon runner and Paris Olympics gold medalist Sifan Hassan was named Female Athlete of the Year. Botswana sprinter Leslie Tobago was named Male Athlete of the Year. Tobago became Botswana's first Olympic champion in the 200 meters event in Paris. The 21-year-old was also named the Male Track Athlete of the Year. Now moving to the world of showbiz, the red carpet was rolled for the 2024 Gotham Awards in New York City. And here are the highlights. Comedy thriller A Different Man won the Best Feature Award. Best Documentary Feature Award was given to the film No Other Land, while the Best Screenplay Award was taken home by his 3 daughters. Meanwhile, Colman Domingo won Outstanding Lead Performance honor for the film Sing Sing. Outstanding Supporting Performance was also given to Sing Sing's Clarence McCallan. Brandon Wilson was given the Breakthrough Performer of the Year award for Nickel Boys, while R.A. Mel Ross got the Best Director award for Nickel Boys. Meanwhile, Indian film All We Imagine won the Best International Feature Award. Payal Kapadia's film had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival in May this year. The story revolves around a nurse whose life changes after she receives a gift from her estranged husband. Actor Tom Cruise has been roped in to star in the supernatural thriller Deeper Filmmaker. Joe Lehman confirmed the casting news. Lehman said, and I quote, "I have never done this before, and neither has Tom. The film is in its early development stage." Actor Anya Taylor-Joy has been roped in for adaptation of limited series Lucky. She will also work as its executive producer. The series is about a woman who leaves her old life of crime to begin afresh. The story is based on a book which is New York Times bestseller. Actress Celeste O'Connor has joined the cast of Scream 7. The details of her role are under the wraps. However, she has starred alongside Neve Campbell and Isabel May. The Scream franchisee have collectively earned nearly $900 million worldwide. Barbie star Margot Robbie revealed in an interview that she slapped Leonardo DiCaprio instead of kissing him in the Wolf of Wall Street audition. She revealed that dead silence followed after she slapped the actor in this scene. Then everyone burst out laughing, calling her improvisation great. In an interview, Kate Winslet opened about dealing with body shamers during the early days of her career. She remembered the time when someone told her it looked like she was melted and poured into an outfit. To which she replied, and I quote, "What kind of a person must they be to do something like that to a young actress who's just trying to figure it out?" End quote. Kerry Washington has been honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She attended the ceremony with other celebs like Tyler Perry and Shonda Rhimes. Washington began her career in 1994. And finally, musical duo 21 Pilots will be performing at the 2025 National Hockey League Stadium Series. They will take the stage for a special intermission performance. The game begins. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Detroit Red Wings will take place at Ohio Stadium in March. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Garland and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to First Post.